It's just,
Sorry.
it's
I'm so tired.
Stream's turned on.
It's too sober to have a coffee. You do, don't worry about it. It's life. I wouldn't thank you.
We're good, aren't we?
I think it's time, obviously. Yeah.
Good to go.
Are you live? Welcome to the meeting, meeting of Finance and Governance Committee. Held the venue at Newton East Pavilion. Today's date is the 23rd. I'm Samantha Brown. I'll be chairing the meeting this evening. Has everybody put all their phones on silent? And would you like to tell people who you're
Introduce yourselves.
Oh, yeah.
Introduce yourselves.
Sorry, introduce yourself.
Councillor Tina Fernandez.
Richard Graham, Vice Chair of the Council.
Councillor Ron Hine.
Samantha Brown, Councillor Samantha Brown. Alison Brown, Finance Manager.
Nathaniel Kelly-Wilson, member of this committee and chair of the Town Council.
Delia Shepherd, clerk to the council.
Right, shall we go through the agenda then this evening?
We've got Axel
Oh,
on the line.
and Axel
He's joining us remotely.
joining us remotely.
Another
Right,
council.
on the agenda, number 1, note of apologies and absences.
Yeah, Chair, we've had apologies from councillors Ely, Summerley and Councillor O'Rourke.
Okay, thank you. Any declarations of interest on the agenda for any councillor?
Sorry, Chair, can I move that we formally accept the apologies for Councillor Andrew Palmer, who cannot attend because of illness?
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
We need to vote on that, I think.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Axel's got his hand up.
Okay, Axel, would you like to come in?
Thank you, Chair. I just want to add, I sent my apologies earlier today because I'm still suffering from this viral infection, so I don't want to drag it around.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Approve the draft of the previous meeting of the committee. Okay. Anybody have any issues with it? Everybody okay?
Pages 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Is there any public here? No, not
No,
tonight.
no representations.
No. Number 5, review and comment about planning applications reviewed by Milton Keynes Council. Number 60, number 160 for our Bacara Grave, single story front extension with a pitch roof, taken over existing porch.
Chair, sorry to interrupt. I think, did we miss declarations of interest or was that me?
No, it was.
You-
Yeah, no, I'm just going too fast.
Too efficient. Beg your pardon.
With cold as well, I'm not surprised I ain't forgot that. Any 60 Bacara Grave, any comments about that?
I'm not entirely sure why this was on the agenda, Chair, because it looks quite straightforward.
Yeah, it does. Number 2, 42 Saffron Street, Bletchley, erection of the single story front and side extension. Anybody got any comments about that?
Comment?
No. Number 3, 18 Manor Road, Bletchley, an erection of a single story rear and side wraparound extension. Any comments?
No.
No. Number 4, 52 Osborne Street, an erection of a 2-story bungalow. Any comments?
Could I just draw your attention, please, councillors, to the objection from the Highways Department on this application. They're saying that it's removing a space from the on-street parking and therefore they're recommending refusal. They also say that the plan doesn't show the crossover that will be required for access to the vehicle. So those are just 2 points I wanted to bring to your attention.
Ethan?
I think that, I'm right that Osborne Street is in the area around Duncan Street and around the back of the Brunel Centre.
Yeah.
And I've had members of the public ask me whether in the future development on that site, more parking can be given that is to be used for people in that area. I think that we have a problem with parking in this area already, and I would propose that we all object on the grounds of parking and support the highways issues.
I agree with you, Ethan. I think we should. Would you be able to?
Yes, we'll follow that.
Okay.
We'll reiterate the comments of the Highways Authority.
Yeah. Okay. Number 6. Review and to note financial management information from reports showing income expenditure on the budget from the 31st of March 2014.
Yeah, up to the Chair, if you'd like me to speak about it. Yeah, this is obviously the year-end figures. And as you can see from the income expenditure, the end of year position was an underspend of just under £86,000. The main reasons for this were the additional revenue from bank interest received during the course of the year, which when the budget was originally set, it wasn't anticipated that interest rates would increase to that level. And also another key factor was, which was talked about before, was the budgets for the youth provision, the play schemes and the senior youth club. Well, we set the budget quite high, but at the end of the day, we couldn't actually find the service provision to procure to meet, so the budget was underspent quite substantially. I think for the coming financial year, we have actually secured additional provision.
Okay, thank you for that. Number 7, to review.
I think we have to just agree that the report's been noted.
Okay, tonight.
Noted.
Yeah. And number 7, to review and note cash and investment reconciliations from the 31st of March.
Chair, I'll just say something on here. I'd just like to say that further to previous meeting, and I asked councillors to sign off the bank statements on a monthly basis. That is now being done, and I'd just like to show appreciation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Number 8, to review and to note councillors' balance sheet as it is on the 31st of March 2024. That tonight? Yeah. And number 9, to ratify a list of payments made to the 30th of April 2024. Yeah, we all happy with that? Any issues? Number 10, to review financial regulations and the scheme of delegations. Number 10.
Chair, would you like me to speak? I can speak about the financial regulations. Obviously, this is something we need to review every year in light of recommendations from JPEG and other purchases. The only amendments I've made for this financial year regulations for this coming year is there's some changes in terms of the public, the procurement levels in the public procurement regulations, where under a certain limit, you could do a light touch arrangement instead of going for full tendering process. That level's been increased from 25,000 to 30,000. So the financial regulations have now reflected that slight adjustment, and actually there's a level at which you have to, there's different regulations for procurement, and those thresholds have been increased. They're the ones that are about 120,000, but those levels have been adjusted in the financial regulations, and they're highlighted yellow in the draft you see in the agenda.
Right, thank you for that, Alison. Right, and number 11, to approve.
And there's, I think, the financial regulations, I think we need to recommend for approval at the full council meeting. So,
okay, thank you, Alison. We'll do that then.
Recommend to approve.
To approve these amended regulations, what we would normally do is take them to the annual meeting, or not take them next week, but take them to the annual meeting,
right,
saying that this committee's already reviewed them, because we review all the schemes of delegations and everything at the annual meeting.
Right.
Sorry,
Ethan?
I've got one question. There is one clause or paragraph in this document which refers to the, I can't remember what it is. It refers to the purchase of software which can only be purchased online.
Yeah.
Given that kind of these software companies like to increase their fees kind of every year, is £1,500 still enough for that software, or do we need to slightly increase it?
We actually set it a level. The piece of software we purchased, which is Adobe Acrobat,
Yeah.
I think it was I think it will suffice for this coming year.
Okay.
But we'll bear that in mind.
Yeah, I think if there's any limits every year, we might just have to review what the prices are, rather than get ourselves stuck and having to come back.
I'll make a note of that for reviewing it, but I think the level already set, it will accommodate any review this year.
Right, number 11, to approve annual governance and accountability return on 2023 to 24.
I'll say something of this. Obviously, you've had the AGAR in front of you, and we discussed the final internal audit report. This is a recommendation to full council for approval. Not only does it set out the financial position for the end of the year, but it also represents, you're signing this off on the basis that you understand your responsibility for, providing a sound system of financial control. I know I've ticked the box, but that is in effect what you're doing, not only the financial figures, but your responsibility as members of this council, that you're happy with financial controls are in place. So I just need to make you aware of that.
Okay.
So this is pure, yes.
I think just to kind of say what maybe you've not said is actually if we sign this document and the controls are not sound, then we as councillors can be held responsible. So it's about making sure that we believe that they are sound.
Yeah, because we've got an accountability and governance from that.
Well, we have reported to you on a regular basis all these things that are being listed here. So, and you've not raised any questions about it. We've got the systems in place, and you've done a review of the internal audit, and you've done a risk assessment, a financial and general risk assessment. So I would hope that you would feel confident about ticking the boxes, but it is a matter for you. It doesn't matter what we think as officers. It is a matter for councillors. You have to be satisfied. So I'm sure, as they say.
We're recommending it to full council, so we've done a review. So I recommend that we
having more eyes on it would be better anyway.
Yes, well, it has to be approved by full council. It can't be delegated to the committee. So this AGAR has to be approved by full council. But it would be good if it was endorsed by the finance committee.
I recommend to approve full council.
Yep. Okay.
So
I'll second that.
I'll second that.
All in favour. Right. Okay. Number 12, to review final internal audit for report from 2023 to 24.
Yeah, I'll take that, please, Chair. I'm just wondering, actually, perhaps should have been looked at on the agenda prior to the AGAR, because obviously our internal auditor has done another exercise. We have the 2 audits every year, interim audit about October, November, and then he comes and looks at the final 6 months to check that everything's in order, and obviously that filters into the AGAR. And as noted in the report, there has been no matters brought to the attention of yourself. So, hopefully you're satisfied that he's done his job and assured you that controls are in place.
Okay, so which note that?
No, that is to recommend to full council on the 30th of April.
That's again the internal audit.
Yeah. All those in favour to recommend it to full council? Thank you. And number 13, to review and note the Hops Albert Street public conveniences.
Would you like me to talk about this? This is why I'm here. This is why I'm here. So you'll remember that the Town Council's previously considered a range of options for Albert Street toilets over the years, and The building's currently occupied under a tenancy at will from Milton Keynes Council, who had previously declined to offer us any different form of tenure, i.e. a lease, because the toilets are located on a site which might be considered for further development as the town deal progresses and the development of the town centre progresses. You'll also remember that in 2021 we had a public consultation about the toilets, which yielded a very high response rate and an overwhelming desire from the community to retain the toilets and to retain the service free of charge. And at that time, the town council agreed to keep the toilets open until the end of the current term, which obviously we're at that point now.
Yeah.
So we've been looking at ways of refurbishing with a light refurbishment, and we had some in the budget for this year that's just completed to do a light refurbishment, but it's become clear that that wouldn't easily achieve a significant improvement in the toilets because the floor needs replacing. If you do the floor, the cubicles, which are actually worn out and have been vandalised, need replacing and so on. So it became clear that something more than that very light lick of paint kind of thing was needed. So a larger refresh has been considered, and we've had quotations, indicative quotations, which are slightly out of date, but we're looking at certainly a sum of £30,000 upwards to do what needs to be done. £30,000 upwards, I would say. So also in your papers, you've got a very draft specification which we've worked on, which we hope would make the toilets more vandal-proof than they are at the moment. So, as instructed by the council, I have been in negotiations with the landlord, Milton Keynes City Council, following the offer of a short-term lease from them. They eventually offered us a 5-year lease, and the concern was that if we invested, they could. Well, it was about the longevity of the investment and the value from the investment, really. So I've now reached the point where we've got heads of terms, and those are in front of you. So as you can see, it's a 5-year lease with a 2-year break clause. And if the lease is determined before the 5 years are up, there's a sliding scale for how they might refund us on any refurbishment that we've undertaken based on the figures that I've discussed with them, which are not actually in this document because we're going to go through a tendering process and I don't want to preempt what comes in the tenders. I think it's unlikely that Milton Keynes Council will want to reclaim the site within 2 years, because from what they've told us already when they've talked to us about the Brunel Centre development brief and the development that's going ahead, I think we will get more than 2 years from the site. And we might even get more than 5 years from the site, because that site isn't yet allocated for anything other than what it is at the moment, car parking and toilets. So, you know, that's the position, but obviously we haven't got a crystal ball and we can't rule out something unexpected happening. So if the council is minded to agree to undertake the lease and perform the refurbishment, that would give the community, you know, at least 2 years and potentially 5 years or more with better public toilets, which we know people want, and with some level of financial protection for the council. So this has come to this committee first, before going on to full council, really, for your views and any feedback before. And then what I would ask you to do is, if you're minded to go ahead with this, to make a recommendation for it to go to full council, because we don't have delegated powers, sufficient delegated powers within this committee, because it's likely to be more expensive than your maximum spend.
Open the floor, Ethan.
So I've got quite a few comments, but I recommend that we do this.
Yeah.
We are putting on a lot of events in the town centre, and I actually, I don't want to take my child into those toilets. Like, I would rather take them home. They are at the end of their kind of life. We've done a number of small scale changes to them, and I think that we've probably spent to refurbish them somewhere approaching the amount that the clerk has already mentioned over the time I've been a councillor, which is from 2016. So I think that they now need a big job doing to them. If we could go through the heads of terms. So first of all, I would like to suggest under the trading hours, that it's actually changed from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. 7 days per week.
Yeah.
Because currently we can only use it if we have got to have an event on the Sunday, and that doesn't make sense. I also think that the repayment of investment monies, I'm a bit concerned by this clause. I actually would prefer to have for the amount that we invest to be depreciated over 5 years. So actually, if they take the sites back after 2 years, I would actually be expecting 60% of the money back, because it feels like we should be depreciating on a straight line basis. And in year 4, it would be 40%, and in year 5, it would be 20%. So I think that we would be proposing double the amounts that are here, because that seems really fair. Because we want, if this proposal goes ahead, our council wants to invest in the toilets, and they're the ones that because of the overall site development may want to do something different. But that's not our fault. So actually, I think that the fairest thing is actually to make us recover that. Also, under the cost section, I think that they need to template, which refers to another council.
They have.
And they probably need to change that. So I think that's everything on there. I would just like to add onto the list of items that it's part of the tender process. I think that we should actually fit a defibrillator to the outside of the building.
We've got one.
Have we?
Yeah.
Okay. So why am I heading on that?
Yeah. I mean, as I say, with the refurbish, with the specification, it's very much a draft, this. And Will did it with some degree of haste, I think. And the tender format, the way the tenders would be submitted, that all needs revising. But I think the scoring, I think, is what's been proposed for scoring the tender is fine. I think the thing that I really wanted to look at was the scale of works within the specification, and whether you think that's an appropriate scale of works, and if there's anything you think that's incorrect in there or that ought to be different. Richard?
My only reservation is about the vandalism in the toilets and stuff like that, and the amount of money that we're investing, because we have over lots of years, invested lots of money into them toilets, and they all seem to always get vandalised or destroyed somewhere along the line. I'm not sure what we can do about that or what the situation is, but we're putting in a large investment. I wouldn't want to see them getting vandalised.
Yeah. I mean, we've taken advice on vandalism. We can't put CCTV cameras in. No. If we charged, it might reduce the vandalism. On the other hand, it might very well not. Yeah. The idea of stainless steel units and make it, the specification has been devised with the idea of making it more difficult for vandalism by having the stainless steel sanitary ware, by blocking in, not having the piping accessible, because at the moment vandals can, kick the piping out very easily. So, you know, that has been taken into consideration, but you know, public toilets, I'm sorry to say, it's a sad admission on my part, but I've been managing public toilets nearly 20 years now, and I've never known public toilets that didn't get vandalised.
Just always something in there.
Yeah, it's impossible to prevent it completely. We've had the crime prevention officer to come and look at it and give advice. And, you know, I don't know what else we can do apart from make sure it's as robust as possible.
Yeah, it does need revamping. I agree with you totally. And we need it, we do need it for the community, because there's a lot of people that need to go in there for certain reasons, like catheters and stomas and stuff. Yeah, so I think we should invest in it myself. If Keith was here, he'd probably say no. But
I don't know. He was the one who wanted the negotiation.
The only thing that I do not see that's in here is it doesn't seem to refer to the disabled toilet in any way.
No, that's a very good point, and I did pick that up myself when I was reading the papers tonight. That needs picking up.
Yeah.
The very difficult thing with the disabled toilets is that what we need is in the town centre is a changing places toilet.
yeah,
Because that disabled toilet is not really fit for modern standards of disabled changing. But the constraints of the building, and it's been looked at by Milton Keynes City Council as well to see if a changing places toilet could be accommodated. We can't do it. So we're going to have to wait for that, for new provision when hopefully when the Brunel site is redeveloped and there's potential for other public facilities elsewhere.
Is a disabled key to get in there?
That's a key.
Yeah, I thought you did.
Yeah. So the disabled toilet is in slightly better condition than the other toilets. It's had less vandalism, but it's not. That doesn't mean it's in good condition. I'm not saying that.
So for me, what I would not want is for people who use the disabled toilet to feel like the other two have been completely judged up, and then they're kind of, I don't want there to be a class system. So I think it needs to be, I think it needs to look like the same.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, Ron?
Well, this is what we asked for. So we've basically got what we've asked for. And if you don't have a toilet in the town, then you can't have all your dues anyway, because that's part of the legislation that coming in 2020. Some councils have gone in taking the court over it because people had no toilets to go to, and there was hell to pay. I think Yarmouth was one of them, and Brighton, because they shut, so that to reopen all their public toilets. So if you want dues in the streets, then you've got to do it. When our Reddit Association done that in Leon Reg, I said, we've got a public toilet up Queensway, and they said, too far away. We had to hire some toilets, and they weren't cheap, you know. So I think what we've asked for, what we got is what we've asked for, and I think we just should move forward with it. And sadly, with the disabled toilets, there wouldn't be a lot we could do in there with the size of it. Because I often walk by and see some disabled people there, and I have a chat with them, and they say this is adequate, and that's all they say.
That's all it is. Yeah.
You know.
It's just convenience, isn't it? So we've got to recommend this to full council, have we?
I think so, if you're minded to do that. I was just going to, just before we do that, we need to think about funding it.
Right.
So we didn't make an allocation in the budget.
We had 7K in the rolling programme.
Yes, just in the rolling capital. There's nothing in the revenue budget, but of course, we've just heard about the underspend. Now, that underspend, I think a lot of councillors might have their eyes on that underspend for all sorts of things.
Yeah.
But to me, it would seem like this would be
definitely
a good use.
So I was just going to make the point. So first, I'm going to make the same point as you. Underspend should not be used, in my view, for revenue items, because basically you haven't got the revenue in future years to cover. You haven't got the precept to cover the thing. And we've previously made a decision that we were not going to be a council that I think we've done very well with our finances over the last few years, and I don't think we should be going back into a situation where we pay for things out of underspends and then we choose not to put the precepts up and find, oh, we've got a problem and we have to put it up hugely in 1 year. Let's not do that. This is, for me, a capital project is into the loop of speaking, well, what can we spend that money on? The finance committee have recommended that this is an ideal project for that to be spent on.
Yeah, okay.
I do think that full council will need to sort of look at the year-end position now we've got it and consider, I mean, there are a number of reserve movements that probably need to be made, but it was too close to year-end to be in a position to do that tonight. And now we know that this is one of the issues.
Yeah.
This can go forward in that way. So so if you want to take a vote on that.
Okay, all those in favour to recommend the toilets overall to full council?
And plus the allocation of 50% of the underspend towards the project.
Okay, what Ethan says as well. All those in favour?
Thank you.
I won't remember all that. Well, I'll make a note. Right, that's it for this evening then, isn't it?
It is.
Meeting
Nice and
closed
sweet.
at 8:02.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to thank the residents?
Thank you, whoever's watching. Thank you for watching us tonight. Okay.
Axel, see you later.
See ya. Bye.
See you later.